I do have a mindful practice.
Okay, well, you'll then be able to share some of your experiences, hopefully, as well.
Well, I'm just on my lunch break from working,
Okay,
so I may not be able to, I definitely can't stay for the whole session.
that's okay.
And
You just
I shall put my camera on and just drink my soup because it's lunchtime, if
that's
that's
fine.
okay.
No trouble at all. Okay. So it was interesting there. We started talking about birds and bird life and how greedy some birds are and take all the food from others' birds. And that actually turns out to be relevant to what I thought I might just reflect on. Because at these challenging times, we're all talking about COVID this and virus that all the time. And I'm sure it's not of very great interest to the birds, except there's probably an awful lot more people at home feeding them at the moment. I was reflecting, and I think a lot of us have, on the way in which nature works in cycles, particularly during this last year when we've had, if you like, a spring experience of COVID, a summer experience of COVID, an autumn experience of COVID, and a winter experience of COVID. And in some ways, each experience has been very different. And I'm sure during the latest lockdown, we all feel a bit more locked down than we did during the summer when we had a few more freedoms. And of course, in some ways, this just reflects the cycles of life as well, cycles of nature, the seasons, the sun and the moon, the planets, even physically, the mountains and the seas and the rivers, they all move in cycles. And this reflects the fact that nature flows. Nature is, it seems to me, is just a way things flow. Everything flows. The seasons flow, the cycles of the sun and moon flow, the planets flow, rivers and seas flow. And therefore, we shouldn't be too surprised that if we resist the nature in way, the natural flow of life, then we suffer. Because the natural flow of life is the way things are meant to be. And we sort of intelligent human beings seem very clever at inventing ways to resist the natural flow of life in lots of different ways. And I was reflecting on the life of a salmon. I don't know if you know much about the life of a salmon, but the salmon in many ways shows us how not to resist the natural flow of life and resistance to change. The salmon, as you all probably all know, runs at the river from the sea. But when the salmon leaves the sea and comes to the river, it stops feeding because its natural food doesn't exist in the river. But still it comes. Now you would think if there was no food, a salmon would go the other way, basically. But no, the salmon just runs up the river. It takes its last natural food from the sea. And when it comes up to the fresh water, it really doesn't have any natural food, but still it comes. And when it comes up river to the spawning grounds and the salmon spawns, it'll die. So the salmon, in some instinctive way, knows it must run up the river. It doesn't eat. It becomes weakened by the effort. Spawns, lays its eggs, and then in most cases will die. And it seems to me that's a really, really good example of how nature goes with the flow. It has a natural flow of things. And resisting, the salmon doesn't resist it. It goes with the flow of nature. That's the way it was meant to be. And so when I was reading about this, I really thought to myself, what a wonderful lesson it might be for ourselves. And by that, by the way, I don't mean don't eat your lunch and don't drink a cup of coffee. But there's a lesson in that about how we, as nature's beings, consistently resist and build resistance into the natural flow of things. And that's often when we start to suffer. We suffer sometimes physically, we often suffer mentally because we want this and we want that, we don't want this, we don't want that. And we fight against the natural order of things to want to do, want to have, not want to do, what not want to have, what nature intends us. Now, with humans, we have this incredible intelligence, and this incredible intelligence causes immense complexity of life. There's a famous Chinese philosopher, I think his name was Lao Zen or something like that, who said, if you have intelligence, you create complexity. And it's complexity that creates some of the challenges in our lives that we fight against. When if we move that complexity and focus on the simple things in life, that's when we get our humanity back, he said. That's when we find ourselves. If you like, in Buddhist teaching terms, that's when we find our Buddha nature. By removing all the layers of the onion that build up over our lives from when we're born, removing all those layers and coming back to our natural selves. And that story about the salmon I thought was quite interesting. It was quite informative and quite reflective. How in nature we're not meant to fight against things, but to accept things as they are. And of course, that's the core teaching of mindfulness meditation practice. Accepting things as they are, knowing what we can change, knowing what we can't change, having the wisdom to know the difference, and being who we truly are, rather than what all these layers have brought us to be. So that's my reflection, Ajahn. And if you like, when I get the opportunity, I'll copy around the story of the salmon.
Yes, please. That'll be lovely.
Okay, so thank you very much, David, for sharing the story of salmon. Salmon is my favorite. So, first of all, Happy New Year to you all, although it's on the 25th of January. So, Happy New Year. And also, as David said, it's a change that we have to learn to accept. And the nature is such that, first of all, can you hear me well?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So the practice of a meditation is basically to understand the nature itself. and how this nature changes, and then how this nature is affecting our lives. And as David said, that someone always wants to go back its own hometown. Yeah. So they feel that that's the place where he can or she can, yes, normally she, right, feels safe. So nature is such that we have to understand about the nature itself. The first thing, we have to know the nature itself, and then the second, how nature works. And then the moment when the nature is performing its duty in accordance with the laws of it, then fruit will come, and the fruit will be delicious. And we human beings are very, very clever. Very clever. We have a strength, and we have a capability to adapt and adjust in every situation. So when we look at the old pictures, we were naked. We were naked. We didn't know how to make a clothes. Somehow we revolved along the way, and nowadays we have so many fancy clothes. We wear it. And in the meantime, we think that we are developed so much, from the previous days or previous years. So we have evolved so much into the new so-called norms. We are changing a lot. In the meantime, we are adapting a lot too. Compared to all other animals, they cannot adapt quickly as we do. So even this COVID-19 time, we have been introduced so many measures after measures. Initially, we complain, and then after a few days, it's okay. We adjust in that environment, and that change becomes unchanged. And here, the moment when we do not know how to adapt, how to adjust in this change, that moment causes a trouble. That moment causes us stress, anxiety, troubles in our minds. So last Saturday, I went to A&E because of my headache. And after the senior nurse checked me, the way she was explaining is like, I have a trouble because of the COVID-19. So I was stressed, and I am having a headache because of the stress of the COVID-19. So like that. So as a result of that, throughout this year, we have seen so many people can't adapt and adjust, inability to accept this change and dealing with this change. And as a result of that, we have faced significant amount of stress and mental problems. Now, practice of a meditation is basically to understand this nature of change, how it is changing. It is basically is about knowing that law of this change, how this law of change happens in our nature. When we look at ourselves, do you think that you are same person 10 years ago? Do you think you are same as like 30, 40 years ago? We are not. We have changed a lot. And over this period of that change, is there anything that you think that you want to be at all the time? No, we always want to change. We always want to look for something else better, something else new, something else that's more exciting. Yeah. And practice of meditation is basically knowing that change and how this law changes in our life, and ability to accept and adjust in those situations. Obviously, Our mind is very clever mind. Huh? It's very, very clever. And then always it desires to get something else. We cannot be happy what we have and always wanting to have new things. And that new things we always think is for the development of our life, comfortable of our life. And we spend a lot of time in our heads rather than feeling. And we criticize a lot in our heads, talking in our heads a lot. This is not happening, that is not happening, it should be happening this way, it should be happening that way. It's not like the message that sent saying that, Joe, you know I win. And that sort of a message. Yeah, we criticizing a lot in our heads rather than feeling and experiencing what's going on around us. So when we look at in this perspective, our own self, what do we have? Now you can ask yourself, what do you have? Mentally, you can ask yourself, what do you have in your life? All the changes that you have come through so far, this until now, what do you have? What do you think is belongs to you? What do you think that the substance or the material things or things that you think is belongs to you, will it stay with you forever? Anything that we can claim is belongs to us and unchangeable. Yeah? And what is very close to us, who do you think is the most important in your life? Or what is the most important things in our life? Is there anything that you can feel, you can know, and you can feel that you are secure and relaxed? Even our body itself, when we look at ourselves, this body, we think it belongs to us. Do you think that it is belongs to us? Huh? Do you think it is belongs to us? Huh? It is not. If it is belongs to us, we could have asked, stay young and beauty and handsome all the time. Let no wrinkle appear in my face. Huh? What happened? The moment when this occurs, we feel very sad. And that's because we are not accepting the change. Huh? And even this we think it belongs to us is not belongs to us. And we have to learn to live with this not belongs to us. Everything is not belongs to us. Everything is changing at all the time. And this is the natural law. And that we have to learn to live with it. And practice of a meditation is simply learn to live with this comfortably without having any troubles.
Yes.
But it is not easy. And that's the reason why we have to train ourselves. Training is the key. When we train, we are not thinking about anything. We are feeling of it. Because the moment you begin to feel, you are in the present moment. But when you are thinking and criticizing or critically thinking, you are imprisoning yourself. You are imprisoning yourself in that thought processes, which is not the reality. It's just your thought, your perceptions. The moment when we change our perceptions, what happens? The whole horizon opens. It's like the sun has come into this dark nights, illuminating and letting us see the whole lights and the whole nature. And with this, in the practice, we feel opening our hearts, opening our minds, and feeling what's around us, feeling what's going on. And that is the practice we are trying to develop. And the moment when we learn to develop in this way, we're learning from ourselves, feeling ourselves, understanding ourselves, how our body works, how this body is nature to change, and then the body is performing its own duty. Now we have to perform our duty on it. Yeah? That is accepting this change and adapting ourselves in this changing nature. And this kind of always new norms, always there. Never been the same. It's always new norms. And we are always, accepting, adapting, adjusting in this way. Okay. So practice here again, we know that there are two types of meditations. Number one is a samatha meditation, known as concentration meditation, and which is easy, sounds easy. Concentrating on a breath or the abdomen, even one or two times, mind already gone. Oh, what I'm gonna eat, what I should write. Oh, I should have done this one, that one, like that. It's gone. What will you do when it's gone? Will you beat? You can't go. You naughty boy. You should stay here. Like that. It works in that way for some times, but that mind can be very tricky. So it's like thinking of training a puppy dog. When we are training a puppy dog, we just tap smoothly, and then we get used to with it gradually. So mind is like that. Whenever it goes off, okay, that's fine. We have a boundary. It's like you are a child minder. You're looking after the child. You know how far this child can go and how far this child can play. Your eyes is constantly with it. So like that. So you're watching your mind in that way, and then you bring it back. Okay, enough, come back, and then bring it back. And with this, gradually, mind settles, mind composes, and then mind gets the calmness, mind gets the concentration. Here, again, you can stop with it and enjoy the blissful state of mind and enjoying that blissful and peaceful mind. That is also fine. But there is another one which is actually, I would say, very, very easy. All what you need is to remember, to notice. That's all. You don't have to concentrate. You don't have to put an effort too much. All what you need is to remember that I am doing this. That's all. And that is called insight meditation or vipassana meditation. Seeing things as they really are. This is very easy one. Very easy. Whatever you are doing, all what you need to tell yourself, remember I am doing this. That's all. Remember I am doing this. See, I know that walking, I know that I am walking. Yes, Alicia?
Forgive me for interrupting. Can you remind people, please, to
Okay.
mute themselves, because I think we're getting quite a little bit of interference
Okay, I will
coming
mute
in
all.
from.
Thank you. I will mute all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, I will mute
Thank you.
all. Thank you. Okay. So, yeah. Now I am not being a mindful. I forgot where I am. So the second practice is basically all what we need to know is that I know I am doing this. That's all. When you are walking, you know that I am walking. That's all. When you are talking, you know that you're talking. When you're eating, you know that you're eating. That's all. nothing else. This is the second practice. That's why it is a very, very easy, but normally what happens, we forget. Yeah? We forget that I am sitting and drinking coffee. I am sitting and taking a meal. I am sitting and enjoying. We forgot. What we normally do, I am sitting and thinking, oh, what he is doing, why he is late, huh? What she is doing, like that. And it goes on. I have asked this to do that and he hasn't done it yet. It goes on. Now, what happens? The negative mind brings negative effects. Positive mind brings positive effect. Who is getting that effect? I am getting that effect. Because I think negative, now I pollute myself. I am stressed. I am bothered. Now I cannot sleep. Now I cannot eat. And goes on, not only keeping to oneself, you will spread to some people around you. Yeah? You will, suppose you have your husband or your wife or your children, you will shout at them, what are you doing here? You have been, goes on. Yeah, you spread. You don't want to keep just for yourself. You want to share it. And when you share it, they will also get it. Yeah, and then their response will be more. Now that's how the house on fire. Yeah? And it creates the troubles. It creates unhappiness. So the whole change, the sequence and that condition where it is coming from, all coming from not remembering to notice that what I am doing. Isn't that easy? Yeah, it's very easy. It's very easy. Only it's become very difficult because we've been very naughty. We don't want to pay attention to what we are doing. So that's why Buddha said this mindfulness meditation is like having a great assistant next to you, nagging you at all the time. It's like a old man with a beard and having this stick next to you standing, and whenever you are doing something unmindful and say, hit you and, oh, be mindful, like that. So the second practice is the mindfulness meditation, or called vipassana meditation, is basically having that state of the mind alert at all the time. Yeah? Awake at all the time. Alert in a sense, you are alert, waiting, everything happening, you know. Awake, you're always awake to see things, what you're going to do. And with that, what happens? You are creating the positivities in you. You're experiencing this nature of change. Yeah, you're accepting that everything is changing. My feeling is changing, my understanding is changing, everything is changing because everything I am conditioning to happen it. And with this, you will be, it's okay. Yeah? You will listen, oh, it's okay. You will just take a few breaths and, it's okay. It's going to go away. It's going to pass. It's going to go. Yeah? And with this, what happens? Not only you are getting the positive vibes in you, you're also sharing it to others, people around. And if you become too calm, suddenly you become a very calm, then people around you, your husband or your wife, may be very surprised to see what's wrong with this. What's going on here? Yeah? And that basically positive vibes is spreading. And that's all coming through our reaction, our understanding. So that's why practice of a mindfulness meditation is basically to know that what I am doing here and now. But obviously our mind been so conditioned. Yeah, we've been conditioned for such a long time. Yeah, 30, 40, 60, 70 years of a conditioning mind, and immediately telling it to be mindful. And it doesn't work like that. Yeah? It's like the dried branch, hard to bend it. So we have to shock into the water and gradually, bit by bit, bending it. Yeah. So, and now this this branch is our mind. So we have to shock it into the water, and that's why the samatha meditation or the concentration meditation comes in hand. The taming this mind. At least we can make it a little softer, and then allowing it to observe things as they are happening, okay, taking place. So with this in mind, now I will guide you through the practice. So take your comfortable seats. Okay? Comfortable seats, and as you hear the gong, slowly, and we'll practice. So take a comfortable seats, and then you may spend a few breaths just to relax the entire body. And bring your mind to be here and now, observing your sitting body. And doing nothing. Leave everything and let the chair or sofa to hold you. Do not do even a concentration. Just let relax the body and the mind. Just do nothing. So leave your perception of meditation to practice and pay attention to the breath. Just leave this body completely on the ground, on a sofa or on a chair. And observing the entire body, how it is. How are you sitting? How are you lying? And whatever is happening in the body, just observing it. All what we're doing is knowing. No judgment, nothing. Just knowing. The body is in this state. And in this body, this is happening. If there is any tension, just let them relax. If there is any thought, just tell it, not this time, later. and back to the body. It's a complete relaxed body by doing nothing, not even thinking, not even concentrating. We are all doing is let this naturally living, just being. Now let this mind work for itself. And you will realize mind begins to search, to be, to know. And just surf around that where this mind is going to, where this mind is traveling within this body. Why this mind is going right, left, middle, top, wherever. Remember, you're not searching, you're not thinking, but feeling. All what we are doing is remembering to know that this is happening. And whatever is happening, whatever you are experiencing, you are letting your mind to surf around. But consciously aware. So you don't have to change anything. And you don't have to look for anything. You don't have to control anything. You have to do basically nothing. All what you are doing is looking at your own body and how your mind is traveling or working. You're simply knowing. And this is simply we are making a cause to make our mind calm, naturally achieving this calmness. Mind naturally concentrates, settles, relaxes. And as your mind calms, mind concentrates within this body, observing this all the activities where your mind stays most of the time, where your mind observes these activities most of the time. Now, as you're watching it closely, a place that you feel most of the time, a place that your mind is working most of the time, you see the change. There is a movement that is changing, the sensation that is changing, your mind that is watching changing, one after another, changing, changing, changing. When we watch it objectively, we attain relaxation, we attain happiness, we attain the state of mind which lets go. When we interfere, we think about it, we want it, we don't want it to change, we don't want to let it go. And that's how it brings suffering. Now, if you're finding difficult to observe, difficult to accept the change or letting go, simply settle down yourself, observing the most obvious movements that is taking place in your body. Mind settles, relaxes, and knowing. Remember, if there is any thoughts or any stories coming, and do not go into the discussion. Just tell, okay, it's not the time. Simply observe, acknowledge, noting this is, and just let go. And back to the moment, in the present moment awareness, remembering to know what is happening. And if you feel lost, it's okay. Just come back to the body awareness. Just spend time relaxing the body, observing where you're sitting, how you're sitting, knowing this natural state of the body, And let this mind observing this, the entire body sitting. Body has got its own natural law of a process, so does mind. Let this body and mind works naturally, fulfilling its duty. And with this, we're simply changing every negative things into positive. That I normally used to say, changing rubbish into compost. Do not let that compost rot and bring smell and stinky, brings unhappiness in our life. But change it into compost so that we can use it, recycle it for other purpose. Okay, so as you hear the gong, you can slowly come out from meditation. Okay, so this is our first session of a practice, and this is a mindful break. And also, I invite you all to share or ask questions if you have any, or if you want to share any. Okay, so if you want to share or ask a question, you can unmute and ask. The floor is yours. No?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I found that when you now allow us to empty our mind don't, I felt that my mind didn't want to be emptied. Like when you say to us, when you get distracted, to note it and to carry on, now you says, let your mind be free, don't think of it, anything. Every minute, something kept popping up. And, you know, like my eyes started watering and my hands were wanting to fidget. And it was just unusual.
Uh-huh. Well, our mind is a combination of mental factors. Our mind always needs an object to arise. Without an object, there is no mind. So that's why when I say, I think I didn't say empty your mind. I just said, just bring your mind to observe the body. Yeah?
Body, yes. How do you observe the body? I
So
want to
just
know.
be with the body. Basically,
Yeah.
have the body as an object, and that's the how your mind is arising there at that time. So you don't need to worry that my mind is not empty, my mind is wandering around. It's okay. All what I'm saying is conscious, aware that my mind is surfing around. Yeah, conscious, aware that my mind is surfing around. Yeah. And that's the beginning of the starting practice. Okay? Yeah. I think Sandra, you want to share something?
No, I was thinking, you see, like when you said to concentrate your body, I try and visualize my body. Is that how you do? Try
Visualizing,
to.
yeah, visualizing your thinking. Whereas what I'm saying is to feel your entire body, feeling from inside how your body is there. When we are thinking, we are conceptualizing it. That's not the reality. We are making it as we see, and even when we concept or imagine it, we cannot imagine all. We can just think that this is my body, and that's imagination. It's not the reality. But when you feel it, it's like you are feeling entire body.
But when we just when I just sat down, you see, there's my body's all right, so I don't have any pain or anything. So I'm not feeling that much. But I know that later on, you see, I will sense the pain and things. Then I can feel the pain more. I would say. I don't know whether it's correct to do that.
It is, yeah. Actually, there is no right and wrong. Yeah? All what we need to do is to feel it, and in our entire body, always something is happening at all the time. It's a matter of how are we paying attention to it. Yeah. And then the entire body, again, we cannot pay attention because our mind is not that big enough to scan all the body at once. So that's why mind will surf around where the intensity is there. The mind will pick up there. Oh, this is in my leg or in my belly or in my back or in my hands or like that. It just surf around. But we are observing that at the initial state. Yeah?
And another thing, you see, the other day, you see, sometimes you see, if I can't follow the live BMC talk, I always listen in the morning whenever I wake up. You see, I've got this earphone and I always listen to that. But in this Amber Pali, you did say that. I think Vipassana is inside meditation, and then I think you also mentioned about nothing is permanent, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how can I relate that? When I'm meditating, how can I relate to that? You see, like nothing is permanent as well. So I'll have to think something, isn't it? So I don't know. I'm a bit lost over there.
Yeah. So Vipassana or insight meditation is to see things as they truly are. And when we talk about see things as they truly are, means the nature of change. Everything is changing. The breath is changing, abdomen
Changing.
our feeling
Yeah.
is changing, our emotion is changing. So with this, in the practice, we are become mindful of this change and understand that nothing is permanent because it's always constant change. Okay, and that's how we will understand the impact of it.
Yes, and then same time, I think you have to concentrate on breathing, concentrate meditation as well, concentrate on exhaling and inhaling. Am I right?
The inhaling, exhaling is a
primary object.
primary object. We will have that almost all the time. Even the breathing in and out is impermanent. In is one, out
is all right. Okay. Yes.
Okay, so thank
That
you.
is called in Pali anapana. Is it?
Yes, that's
we call it anapana.
Yeah. Okay, David, you want to say?
Sorry,
Mute.
so Did you say something? I didn't.
Okay, yes. Again, it might be useful, Ajahn, if people were muted, because again, there was some feedback in the last session.
Yeah.
What I was going to say was that with I quite like to use the example of when we're practicing with samatha meditation. When we breathe in, we can't have that breath again, it's gone. When we breathe out, we can't have that breath again, it's gone. And that's a pure example of impermanence. We've had that breath and it's gone. And the same with observing short breath and long breath. Not forcing it, but where we notice a short breath, that short breath is gone. Where we notice a long breath, that long breath is gone. A deeper breath or a more shallow breath. And this is the essence of impermanence within ourselves. Each breath, we can't have a breath again once we've had it. The next breath is a different breath. And I find that quite a good illustration, particularly for people who are new to the practice of mindfulness meditation, because we can relate to that, because it's something inside us that we can feel.
Yeah. Emma, you want to say something? Emma?
No.
Oh, okay.
Can I ask you something, Ajahn?
Yeah.
It is another subject, I suppose, about karma. I've always been unsure about karma. Karma is something that is interrelated to my past, present, and perhaps future action, I take it.
Yeah.
My understanding, if I'm right or wrong, karma could be influenced in my present existence with my effort and intelligence. Am I right in saying that?
The concept of karma is quite huge. Can we leave it for other time?
Yes.
So today, let's concentrate on meditation and how apply meditation. So, okay, thank you. So, anyone wants to share or anything? Add on? No? Okay.
Yeah. I started, you see, I was born, my parents were born, they were quite old when I was born. My mother was about 43. So I was brought up by mature parents. And then if they had been still alive, they would have been about 110 or something like that. So you see, and when I was about 8, 9, 10 years old, they were already, those generation, they're very, very religious. So they used to meditate. And I started meditating when I was quite young, from 8 years old and 9 years old. I had to follow them every evening and sit for about an hour. And, you know, at that time, I think now only I come to understand better. I think we were just on samatha, just concentrate on the breathing. So I was very used to that. So every time if I have to meditate, I just concentrate on my breathing in and out, you know, this sort of thing. But I was drinking a lot when I was younger. But since I got married, you see, I stopped. I didn't have time to do all these things for the last 50 years. And I'm doing it again.
It's
And,
no
but the thing is, you see, like it's you know, coming back, you know, from there, you see, little bit, I understand about this impermanence and everything, but you know, like a little vipassana and all, little bit related, you know, the relation between that. You see, I'm a bit confused. That's all. But I'm happy that what I'm doing is right anyway. That's all. Thank you.
Yeah. So basically, in a practice of a breathing meditation, incoming breath, outgoing breath, paying attention to it is fine. And the longer we can pay attention to it, is the better. It makes our mind more concentrated and more calmer, yeah? And it makes stronger. When the mind is concentrated, we will be able to channel it at any time, anywhere. And as I call it, like a concentrated water can produce the electricity. But when the water is scattered, it hasn't got the energy to produce the electricity. So our mind is like that too. When mind is scattered, it hasn't got the energy, it hasn't got the strength. And as we practice breathing meditation or any other form of a samatha meditation or concentration meditation, basically helping us to bring this scattered mind into the one concentrated state. And then as the mind become concentrated and then established in that way, we have to open up. If we keep it in that way, then it's just the water without producing any electricity. But we need to channel it through, and that's how it brings the energy. So we have to open up our senses, that I call it opening our senses. And when we open our senses in that moment, we become very aware of whatever we are doing. And we will be able to be mindful of things that's happening before it triggers into the emotions. Because everything is happening, it's coming through our senses. We see things, and then we put our thoughts, our perceptions, our thinkings, and then exaggerate on that, manipulate it, and then that's how we got into the trouble. And we become emotionally engaged with it. And then the more we become emotionally engaged and we think about that emotionally, and we trapped into our own thought processes, that whatever I am thinking, whatever I feel, it's the truth. The rest of others are untrue, and that's not the reality like that. And we are basically imprisoning ourselves into our own thought. So with this, whereas as we open up our senses with the correctly developed mind, we simply observe it. We become aware of that, aware of whatever coming through the senses, things that we see, the sound that we hear, the smell that we get, the taste that we eat, or even the comfortability of our body, the warmness and the cold, whatever it comes, we will be able to observe it objectively without having any inputs on that. But we will be knowing it as natural truth, as they are. It just comes and conditioned, and it will go like that. So that's why the practice of a breathing meditation is absolutely fine. But once we got into the state of a concentrated state, learn to open up your senses and allowing the senses to begin to work. And then do not let these senses pull you away one side or another. Just remember that I am here, mindful. So like that. Yes, Tune? You have to unmute. Yeah.
Thank you. Just as a question that you suggested, or answer you told me about the primary objective.
Yeah.
We should not mix and match. Either my primary objective at my inhaling, exhaling, or rising and falling on tummy. I should not mix and match. Am I correct in saying that?
Yes, that's right. You have to choose one or another.
One or the other.
Yeah, you have to work with one, and then up to the concentrated level, and then after that, you just open up. And as your mind become concentrated, and when you open your senses, then at that moment, no need to worry. You will be just mindful.
So either or will be fine. Either breathing or rising But stick to one.
One or another. Yeah. Okay. So, anyone else? Okay. Sounds like everybody is zoned in. So in that case, let's practice then. Before we practice, I just would like to inform you that I have decided not to give a talk on the Tuesday evening. Instead, I will be coming on Zoom at 7 o'clock. And then after chanting and a guided meditation, I will have question answer. And there will be a sharings. So basically interaction from participants. So you are welcome to join. I will post on Facebook and also will post on our website as well. Okay. So this will be on Tuesday evening, so 7 o'clock. We'll do, that's basically going back to the before the COVID-19. We normally have on a Tuesday evenings that starts at 7 o'clock chanting, half an hour chanting, and then a guided meditation for half an hour. And then 8 o'clock, we start discussion for 1 whole hour. So in that moment, you can ask your concerns, your questions, and your difficulties in meditation. And then if I can answer you, I will. And if I can't, I will say no. Okay. So you're most welcome to join in that Tuesday evenings. Yeah.
Yes, I think in fact you have already answered that question in one of the, the VMC talk, because I remember I've listened to that one. You see, with the to do with the karma. Yeah. I'll tell him a bit as well.
No worries. So yeah, on a Tuesday evening, okay, 7 o'clock, you can join Zoom, and then meanwhile, Wednesday evening, David is running this mindfulness living course, 6-week course. And if you haven't joined and you are thinking of joining, then you can email. And if those who have already emailed and joined, then that's fine. Just tune in. So that is when I start at 7 o'clock on Wednesday evening too. Okay, that's the course that we have been.
I'll ask David about that, I think.
Yeah. Okay. So apart from that, so every evening I am trying to give sometimes maybe rubbish, just here and there talking to you. Bear in mind.
I always listen to live. From 6:30. But you see, I sometimes get phone calls from America. So you see, if I don't listen properly, I always listen in the next day in the morning. Yeah. I've never missed anything yet.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you. So that's the 6:30 evening talk and guided evening chanting, and then a guided meditation, and then that been practicing. So it will be continue. So meanwhile, and again, if you have any questions, you can email, and finding time, I will answer through the evening talks as well. So with this, anyone wants to? Okay, no, right. So let's practice the loving kindness meditation to finish off then. Okay.
How long is it going to take for the?
This is going to 10 minutes.
Oh, right. That's fine, because we're going to have lunch after this.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. So. Okay. Right. Take your seat comfortably. Okay. As you hear the gong, and do the practice. So have a comfortable position. Bring your mind to the present moment awareness, the body sitting. And checking your mental state. How are you? Happy, unhappy, frustrated, sad, relaxed? Who is making you this? Is that you or is that somebody else? If somebody else making you upset, then do not pay your rent. Do not waste your time. One thing you have to remember, no one can make me angry, no one can make me upset, no one can make me happy, no one can make me joy. Everything is I am conditioning. I don't like, I become upset. I like, I become happy. I feel pleasant, I feel joy. So, just be yourself. Take a long breath. Know that I am breathing in, breathing out. Know that I am breathing out. Breathing in, I feel my whole body. Breathing out, I feel good. Breathing in, I see my mind is watching. Breathing out, I am aware. Breathing in, I feel entire body. Breathing out, I relax. And observing entire body. And bring that attention to observe the sensations in your hand. And to your heart. Feel the beating heart. You may put your hand on your heart, or you can smile physically to feel your beating heart. And as you feel your beating heart, telling yourself, I am okay. I am fine. I am happy. I am free from suffering. Giving a warm mental hug to yourself. You are good. Feel the liberation. Feel the calmness and happiness. And sharing loving kindness and compassion to all other sentient beings. Bringing into your mind people around you, in the city, in the community, in the country, an entire universe. Or any particular person. May they be well, may they be happy, may they be at peace. Sharing this loving thought, wishing them to be happy, at peace. Bringing into your mind any particular person that you do not know, indifferent person, a person you met somewhere, wishing them, may he or she be happy, well, at peace. Bringing into your mind any hostile person, may they be happy, may they be at peace, may they be free from suffering, may they be at peace, may they be liberated. So bring into your mind and bring that attention to your hands again. Feel the sensations in your hands and to your body. And to your eyes. And as you hear the gong slowly coming out from meditation and reflect for a few moments. Okay, so thank you very much, everyone. I wish you all have a wonderful time. Stay safe, take care, and may the Buddha Dhamma Sangha bless you. And see you next month at the same time. Yeah? Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye, David.
Bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you, Ajahn and David. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, David.
Bye for now. See you soon.
I see you.
Thank you.
Thanks, David. Bye-bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, sorry.
Thank you, Kamina.
Bye. Bye, David.
Okay.